This 1982 GMC is already pretty nice, but we've got some custom ideas to take this show truck to the next level. And you'll want to see the special surprise under the hood. Welcome to Truck U. Today in the shop we've got this nice looking 1982 GMC, and if you're Bruno or myself and you see this in the parking lot at the grocery store, you walk up and you say, man, this truck's got some years on it, but the paint looks phenomenal. No scratches, no dents. This is a nice looking truck. It's got a couple things going on though, you know what I mean? You know where my favorite part is, right back there, right?
You mean the shotgun shells and the bottle caps in the bed?
Absolutely. This guy knows how to party. This is a guy I want to hang out with on the weekend, for sure.
Yeah, he's not just showing this truck, he's actually enjoying it, which is a great idea. You know what else I like about this truck? So the racing stripes across the hood.
Yeah.
More than that, I like what's underneath the hood, man.
Whoa, it's a little early for that, isn't it? You want to give it away this soon?
We've got 22 minutes to work with, and you've already wasted one talking about absolutely nothing.
That's what I do.
I know that's what you do. That's why I got to keep you on track. Get in there, come on.
I kind of think I'm good at talking about nothing.
Check that out. All right, Matt. Now that doesn't sound like an early 80s Chevy pickup truck, and the reason why is because underneath the hood he did a major modification, putting in an early 90s Cummins diesel. Now this is a 12-valve motor that makes a ton of power, a ton of torque. It'll run forever, and for him the best part was this truck from factory, well, used to make about 8 or 9 miles to the gallon. Now he's getting 20.
So that's a lot of improvements, right? We got a lot of good things going on up here, but there are a few things that we can definitely address to make it even better.
Yeah, this is a cool swap.
We've established that what's going on down here is good, but let's make an improvement, right? So let's take a look at the air intake right here. So here's what's going on. Off the back side of the radiator, a lot of heat blowing back. You got heat blowing off the alternator, a lot of heat coming off the exhaust manifold. That's about the hottest spot in the whole engine compartment, and that's where the air cleaner is. Plus, no intercooler. It's just getting jammed straight in. So what we want to do is do a little relocation. We want to bring this from here and put it on up around this corner and up on the front side or the back side of this grill. See, there's a hole right here from the factory, and that's cool. We can tie our intake right into that. Now, on the front side of that, there's a little diffuser right there. So all the air will kind of creep around there, but that diffuser will keep the dragonflies and the hummingbirds and other things from flying in there and becoming, you know, a restriction in your intake, if you will. So, Bruno, here's the situation. It's not like we can call the parts store and say, hey, I need a cold air intake kit for my 1982 GMC that's running a 1990 12-valve Cummins, right?
Right. So that's why I did a little online shopping. Not only did I get something for your 50th birthday, which is right around the corner, but I also got all the parts and pieces we need to customize our own cold air intake. You know, we started with a 3-inch opening on the inlet of that turbo. We're going to step it up to 4, and the reason why is this way we can pack as much cold air into the engine as possible. It's kind of like a race car with a hood scoop. They're forcing all that air in. The difference will really be seen up to speed. It's something I like to call free boost, and we're going to take advantage of it. So first things first is to get a 90-degree bend on and get away from the heat. We'll use this step, or reducer, depending on how you want to look at it, to go to the front of the turbo, and then we're going to use this 180 to manipulate it to get to that front of the engine where Matt was talking about.
Nothing to it.
Hop over there, buddy.
Not 50, dude.
Seriously?
No. 32.
Come on. And we've got to figure out the best way to utilize this to get up here.
We just got to get around that.
So we've gone ahead and decided to tape off our 180 bend because we're going to cut this thing. We don't want to damage the polished aluminum. So with our bend cut, now we can finish configuring our cold air intake system. So what we're gonna do is bottom out of the front of the truck and figure out how much we have to cut off to make all this mesh. It looks like the 290s are gonna work just fine. We just need to figure out how much material we need to remove. So this is telling us right here, when we're up against the front, we're at exactly 3 inches to get these 2 tubes to align. Now we also have to compensate for our air filter. I measured this up earlier, but it's always good to measure twice and cut once. It's saying 7.5 inches, yet we have to go inside here 1.5 inches to get it to overlay right. So 7.5 minus 1.5 puts us at 6 plus 3, 9 inches, if my math is correct, we need to remove from this tube to make all this work. And that's what I'm going to do right now.
Usually I'm the numbers guy on the show.
Usually.
You're kind of taking my line, huh? Hey, here's another thing I'm going to do is a shroud on the backside of this radiator. What do you think about that?
Oh, that's a great idea.
I think it'll help because if you take a look at this, where the fans are placed, they're right on it, right? So basically the only part of the radiator that they're using is that part that they're attached to. So we got a whole, probably 50% of the radiator is not even getting used. We're going to fix that by putting the shroud on the backside of this, and that'll move those fans out about an inch or so, and that'll give better suction, better airflow, and all that. That's why a lot of your stock vehicles, for the most part, have shrouds on them nowadays. You know what I mean? They work. So think about it. This truck has AC, so you've got the AC condenser up there in front of the radiator, so that's even more reason you want as much flow as possible back there, and we're going to accomplish that by putting that new shroud on the back. So we can go out and buy one, but we got to make sure that thing all lines up and fits perfectly. And you know what? Here at the shop, we've got some aluminum. We've got the Tracker CNC machine, so we might as well just build it. Now, right now, we need to go to break, but I will get everything set up so that when we come back, we can start building that shroud. I think it'll work.
While the government can't mandate that you watch Truck U daily, they have mandated the use of low-sulfur diesel fuels, and that has led to the rise of IDIDs, or internal diesel injector deposits. Fuel systems operate under very high pressure, and over time, this constant pressure cooks the fuel. The IDIDs are a byproduct from this molecular breakdown. The fuel turns yellow and leaves a varnish coating throughout the fuel system. Hot Shot's Secret Diesel Extreme is a clean and boost fuel additive. Diesel Extreme was specifically designed to clean out IDIDs from your injector tips, tank, and fuel lines. Diesel Extreme is the most potent cetane boost of any additive on the market. That's the extreme part. You only need to use Diesel Extreme twice a year, or every 75,000 miles. This tip is brought to you by Hot Shot Secret, powered by science.
Welcome back to Truck U. So today we're working on this 1982 GMC with this 1990 Cummins up in the front. Pretty cool, everything's working fine, but we want to take a couple of things and make them better. I talked about this fan shroud that we're going to build. Sure, we could go out and buy one, but there's no telling if it's going to fit perfectly. We have the materials and the Tracker CNC machine. We might as well just make it ourselves. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to gloss over a couple of things and make this look a little bit less complicated than it really is. Basically, we got up in the engine and took the massive measurement. That's not massive measurement, but it's the larger one of the two of the size of the metal that we needed, right? We needed a big rectangle. Now keep in mind we're going to be bending those sides in, and we want the whole thing to be about an inch deep. So we have to compensate for all of that when we make our measurements, which we did. Then you've got to measure these fans down here. So you take a look, the actual working part of the fan that we need to measure is from this inside lip here all the way across to the other, right? So we took that measurement, we plugged it in. So moving along, we head on over to the torch screen once we have everything drawn up. So let's go over here and take a look at what we did. Now we have our starting points. So the cut will start on the inside and work its way around, and it's also going to cut the holes out before the big rectangle. So we did that in kind of our torch order. So I think all that being said, we're just about ready to go. All right, let's get this out of here and take a look. And there we go. Nice. Look at that. Hello. Hello. All right. Now all I have to do is bend these sides up a little bit. In the meantime, we also need to check in with Bruno and see how he's doing on that intake.
So our tubing has all been cut and everything seems to be fitting in place. Right now we've got some masking tape holding everything. In a minute we'll weld this all together. All we have to do now is secure it with a little bracket mount we're making. So we're going to utilize this hole right here in the fender well. This mount will go down through here. Obviously we'll drill a hole through it, but we need to mark a point where we will attach it to our tubing. So let me hold this here, get the height right. We'll put a little cross right here across both of them, tack weld it, wrap it over it, weld it in place, and we are going to be good and secure. Now, one thing that I want to point out is we made sure we used a hard line. You know, some people make the mistake and use a silicone hose like this all the way up here to that filter. The problem with that is when this thing gets under boost, you got to realize it's a suction tube. What it's essentially is going to happen is do what this is doing on this radiator hose and collapse. That'll close off boost and you'll obviously lose a lot of power. So make sure you use a hard line, especially when you're using something that's going to be a boost application like this. Now it's just a matter of welding it all up. One thing you want to do when you're welding tubing like this is to always go in that same motion all the way around the same direction. The last thing you want to do is start and stop. The end result would be an ugly looking weld. This way it's nice and concentric all the way around.
Over at the bandsaw, I was able to notch out all 4 corners. So these 2 and the other 2 were tucked up under here. You bring it back over to the box and pan brake. Now we're ready to bend this up to about 40 degrees. So we'll bend this side, spin it around, bend the other one, and then take it over to the truck and measure it. Now, let's see if I weigh enough to pull off this bend.
All right.
Get this out of here. We can go do our first test fit. All right, that should be good right about
Oh,
there.
nice. You got that all in.
Yeah, man, it actually fits really good. Look at that, man.
Huh?
Look at your welds.
My shiny new parts.
I'm telling you, I've seen worse looking stuff come from the factory. Those welds are amazing.
So I've been honing my welding craft, son.
Man, and you know it's awkward for me to pay you a compliment, but
It's,
dude,
it's killing you right now, I can tell.
I'll give credit where credit is due, man.
Well, I think this is going to be a big improvement because now we're getting a nice cold charge in. Before we were sucking in all the hot air from the exhaust, from the alternator, all that stuff was giving it a bad charge. Now I think this thing's going to breathe a whole lot easier.
I think so too. Hey, listen, we need to go to break right now, but you know, we've been doing a lot of work underneath the hood here, a lot of fabrication. When we come back, we're going to do a much needed facelift up on the front end of this truck, right? You think it needs it, don't you?
Absolutely. It needs something that's going to pop a little more.
It does.
Welcome back. We got some custom fab work done underneath the hood. I've got that new cold air intake in, and Matt got that new radiator shroud. One of the things we want to do at the front of this truck, though, is update the look a little bit, bring a little life to it, and there's an easy way to do it thanks to the guys at Brothers Trucks.
Now, when you take a look at the front of this truck, what do you see? You see this grille. We have got to bring this thing up a little bit more modern, right?
Right.
Make it look cool. Now, it's actually in good shape. It's not banged up or anything. It's in good shape like the rest of the truck, but look at this. All right, here's this grille. You know how I always have to hang stuff so we can see what it's going to look like? It's just a thing with me. Look at that. How much
better, man.
That is going to be great. Now, let's move along and take a look at the bezels, because these are going to go too. So these are chromed out right here, but over time they're starting to pit a little bit. They just look a little bit junky. So we're going to take those out and replace them with these. Now take a look. You compare this color right here, it's a little bit more muted out. That's actually going to go with the paint scheme of the vehicle. So that's a quick, easy thing to do, and it's going to make a big difference. And while we're changing this and these, we can't leave this, right?
Yeah, that trim work's got to go because otherwise the whole front will suffer. So with all these new pieces up front, the whole front of this truck is going to change considerably, and it's something we can do, and we can do pretty quick.
Fortunately, I have some trim as well. Let's see how this goes. That was easy.
That was easy, right?
All right.
All right, you got it?
Yep.
So the old trim pieces are out of the way. Now it's about putting the new stuff in. Now basically they've got all the same sliders, connectors that you just need to kind of line everything up with the existing holes, and it goes together kind of like a piece of a puzzle. That on there.
We'll get it all locked in, and then once we have that in and everything else, we can take the blue tape off of that too. That way we don't scratch anything up.
Yep.
So we got the new trim in there, and that looks good. No dents. Everything's looking nice. Now we noticed on the back side of this grill, we've got these little mounting tabs right there, and we thought that'd be a cool place to put some parking lights. Just so happens we had some of these back in the stash. So let's see if it fits, and it's real close. All I have to do is kind of shave off these tabs up on the top and get them out of the way. Hey,
Look what I found, bro.
Nice, dude.
I think these will really light up the front of this thing.
Yeah, they will. You notice we just keep adding more work to this project, right? It's not getting any earlier.
Is what we're finding.
Perfect.
So the front of the truck is done, and now it's time to turn our attention to the interior, which is kind of a work in progress as it came here. You know, the owner started doing some stuff inside. He got all new gauges. They look good. They got that carbon fiber face. We kind of ran out of time in terms of tying things all up. So we turned to the guys at Brothers Trucks, and they got us everything we need to finish things off in the interior. And we've got the kick panels for the passenger side, for the driver's side. We've got a new heater control with AC. It's already got one, but it looks kind of junky. So this is going to help clean things up. And all our attention is going to turn then to this instrument bezel. What this is going to do is not only tie off all those gauges, but give us a way of mounting our new aftermarket radio. You see right now you've got the old setup here from the 80s, the knobs on either side. So we're going to fix that by modifying a little bit. We've already got a piece of ABS plastic we cut out to use as our insert for our radio. That will slide up here and it'll mount into it. Now we just need to cut out our bezel for this to go over it. So we've got our little pattern. This will sit here. We'll trace that out and cut it, no problem. We've got the new vents. All this stuff should pop in pretty quickly. It's just a matter of taking a few minutes to finish it all off.
Bruno, let's take a little break from the action for just a second. Come on over here and take a look at some of this cool stuff that we got from KT Performance. Now, these are guys that we work with all the time.
No, a lot of people know KT Performance for their high-performance diesel stuff. You know, they're tuning kits and power adders. The thing is, they've got a huge product line, so it's not just diesels, it's all trucks. They cover thousands of different parts from hundreds of different vendors. And what the nice thing is you can call up and get support for each one of those parts and each one of those vendors from the guys. I mean, stocking stuff from additives to tuning kits, turbochargers, and torque converters, man, they pretty much have it all.
You know what's cool is KT Performance has a really interactive website. They do things like monthly giveaways. They've got a Reader's Ride section where you can upload pictures of your projects. And the cool thing is, if you and I are looking at it and we kind of like one of the products that somebody else has used, there are direct links and it'll take us right to the website where we can get that part. Another cool thing, this topside creeper behind me is one of the most asked about tools that we use on the show. People ask about it all the time, and we got it from KT Performance. This is the slide bar radio from Custom Auto Sound. Now, the idea with a lot of the Custom Auto Sound products is to have a classic looking radio with all the modern conveniences, right? But this one takes it to another level. Check this out. So we got the slide bar. We go from analog, boom, to digital right there. That is pretty cool.
When you switch it over to digital, now you've got all the functions you would want out of a modern stereo of today. It's 300 watts, 25 different presets. You've got the connections to all the modern portable devices you would want, like your iPod, USB connections, CD changer. This thing is a legit stereo system of today, 7 different displays as well as RDS. It is a pretty nice piece.
Then when you want to go back to analog, you simply say goodbye, boom, and you're back.
You are back in time.
Let's go inside the Duplicolor garage. Duplicolor, yes you can, in your garage.
There are people in this world that can look at a little scratch like this in a vehicle and just go on about their business. It doesn't even faze them. It's confession time. I'm not one of those people. Stuff like this drives me crazy, right? Well, that's one of a lot of issues that I deal with on a daily basis. But that's an easy one to fix because I've got this. It's the Duplicolor Scratch Fix All-in-One. Here is why they call it the all-in-one. It's got everything that you need, and it all starts right up here at the top. It's got this abrasive tip right there, and that'll let us prep the surface and get everything nice and clean. And we've got 2 different methods of application. You've got a precision pen tip for real fine scratches, or they've got the tapered brush right in here that we can take a look at. If it's like a big chip and you need a little bit more paint on there, you can use that brush. Once you're done with that, and you want to match up that factory finish, you got to use the clear coat. And that is right down here on the bottom. Boom. Everything you need, all right here. The most important thing, obviously, is to match up the color and make sure that you get the right paint on your vehicle. So you do that by finding your vehicle's paint code. That's going to be on the door jamb on the driver's side, most of the time. On some vehicles, it might be under the hood, but that way you know you're getting the right thing. You head down to your local automotive retailer, and you find the right scratch fix all-in-one for your vehicle. So for more information about this or any other Duplicolor products, be sure to check out their website. So this was good, did it for a couple of bucks, job's done, it was nice and easy, and think of the money I'm gonna save on therapy.
This segment of Truck U is brought to you by Seatbelt Solutions. the safest seatbelt money can buy.
Welcome back to Truck U. So the interior is coming along. The dash looks great. Everything's laid out. Bruno's got the stereo dialed in. Now he can listen to Wham as loud as he wants. That's going to make him very happy. Now, this is an 82. All these seals in the window, these are old. You got this little window right up here. You know, when you're driving down the road in this truck, this thing's whistling. What do we do about that? Well, we take a look at all these replacement seals and parts that we have for the window. So we got a little bit of everything. It looks like a lot, but it's not too bad. When the job is done, you may look at that and go, it doesn't look like you really did much, but you'll notice it when you drive down the road on a rainy day.
So Matt just showed you guys all those window seals and stuff like that for an older truck can be really hard to track down. But the guys at Brothers Trucks, man, not only do they have that and Euro style lighting and side view mirrors, all that hard to find stuff that can really, save you time on your projects and get you the parts you need and get it quick.
You talk about the hard to find pieces like clips and gadgets and fasteners and things that aren't ordinarily carried in the auto parts store, and you're like, where am I going to get them? They've got them in their catalogs and online, and they'll ship it right to you. So they've made our lives a lot easier in the past on a lot of different projects that we've been working on.
Yeah, whether you got a Chevy or GMC truck going from 1947 to 1987, they got you covered, and they had us covered on the front grille of this truck. It was really flat and dead when it came in, but I think now this thing is really dressed up. It has a wow factor not only up front, but in the interior as well.
It does. It looks great, and then that just rolls us right back into here, and you talk about the fan shroud that's now in place and the air intake being moved over into the corner. What we did was we took something that was actually working fine, and now it should work a lot better, man. I'm looking forward to this. So.
Yeah, it should definitely run cooler and have cooler charge temps, and I think it's time now to test it out and take it for a little test drive.
You may get out?
Take it out.
And we're out of time, so we'll see you guys next time right here on Truck U. All right,
see ya.
Let's do it.
Wake me up before you go, 'cause I don't plan on going solo. Wake me up before you go.
You've got to turn it down.
Dude, you're messing up my karma here. I'm in my groove.
I need a guitar, something.